This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. It's every hour till 9 a.m. From 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
Let's skip 5 through 4 and go to Winter Park. JJ McCarthy.
What has this been like for you, just the whole mental process of going through the injury and then what you were able to take away and then coming out on the other side of it now?
The whole process has been, a unique one. I haven't had an injury like this that sat me down for so long, and I was very grateful for the opportunity that I had to really get a head start on the mental side of the game, our offense, opponents, defensive schemes, and individual aspects of each player. And, just really getting on the same page with KO has been awesome. Last season, seeing how he calls the games and everything like that, as well as, the intricate personality traits of the guys on the team, and being able to, feed those that help strengthen the overall group and help strengthen them individually, and, be there for them when, some things aren't going their way, and you could address it from something you learn off the field and, help get them back to neutral baseline. Yeah.
Did you put blinders on, or how did you focus when all the talk about Aaron Rodgers was going on and what's going to go on here? And you're here all winter doing all the workouts, doing everything you should do. How did you personally say how I'm going to handle this?
Obviously respect Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. But all I was focusing on was just that day-to-day, task. What I was doing here, what I was doing at home to kind of make myself the best overall player I could be, best overall man. And, those blinders were on just like they've been on my entire career. So, great question.
You're going to be under tremendous pressure. I just wonder how you handle that. All that pressure that's coming in now. And all that stuff.
Personally, I think the more pressure, the better for me, because, that's something I thrive off of. And, they always say the cliche, pressure is a privilege, but that's something that you sign up for when you play in the National Football League, especially at the quarterback position. And, I feel like pressure, all it does is just bring out what's inside of you. And, I feel pretty good about what's inside of me. And, more pressure, the better, honestly.
You don't like sitting around, JJ, and obviously you didn't have a choice in this. Did you learn some new methods to being patient, or meditation and things that you worked on before? I mean, did you learn some things? Because, you'd rather be anywhere but sitting in a room by yourself doing nothing?
That's a great question, Mike. I feel like the biggest thing I picked up was just a gratitude journal. As simple as that. You know, the little things that go, you know, overlooked and underappreciated when you are healthy and you can walk, or, you know, just even the ability to see. And I feel like that's been a great anchor for me every single morning, along with my meditation, to kind of, you know, put great perspective into my days and, you know, jumpstart my day.
Do you think you're ready to start?
I know I'm ready to start. I appreciate that question, Kevin, because all the work I put in and just the confidence in my skills and abilities and just being able to do my job and simplify things to, you know, the best of my ability every single day, and, you know, just take it one day at a time, one play at a time. And, you know, I have a tremendous coaching staff, a tremendous group of guys around me that I can lean on, and they can lean on me.
Along those lines, what do you think about the team that builds around you in terms of the offensive line? They did work on receivers, defense, all that.
It's amazing. I mean, they did a tremendous job, you know, from the defensive side of the ball too, all the way up into offensive line, running backs we added, and just being able to, you know, get the most out of the Minnesota Vikings. That's what I feel like, you know, Kwesi and KO are doing, and I'm here for it.
JJ, Kevin talked a little bit last week about the throwing program that they had you on, just the volume of throws that you had. What day, or if you can remember, was there a juncture where you felt like, I'm all the way back and can handle the workload here?
I couldn't point out a day because I felt like I was back the second I started throwing. You know, I was always itching to get out there and, you know, get after it, and I kind of always felt better than, you know, what I was supposed to feel. But, yeah, I can't really pick out a day. It just felt amazing every time I stepped out on the field.
How far back can you trace that kind of mentality of embracing the pressure and seeing it's good for you? Like, can you remember, like, you know, high school youth, like, kind of realizing that was how you thrived?
I would say, you know, I came across this quote, you know, people with ADHD, they find calm in the chaos and chaos in the calm. And I've always felt like, you know, ever since I was a kid, just any competitive environment I was in, I felt like I was at home. And, you know, obviously playing at Michigan, and, you know, there's 110,000 and you're one of the most prominent, you know, universities out there. I feel like that's where I feel most comfortable, is when, you know, the lights are the brightest, the stage is, you know, the biggest stage out there. And, yeah, I know it's going to be a lot more of that to come.
JJ, why did you lose as much weight as you did during the rehab process? I think some people saw you on TV one of those weeks and were kind of surprised that they'd seen you before, that you looked a lot different.
Yeah, it was just the combination of, you know, not moving at all, not working out. You know, I'm somebody that needs to work out in order to put on weight. So, you know, I'm back up to 215, exactly where I want to be. And, yeah, it's amazing how fast it, you know, kind of peaks and valleys, but feel like I'm in a really comfortable spot, and just kind of maintaining from here.
How low did you get?
I was pretty low, probably like, you know, in the high 180s range. But, yeah, that's just kind of normal. Put it on like within 2.5 weeks once I started working out again. So, yeah.
What stood out most? I'm just trying to listen to Kevin call games. What did you learn most from kind of hearing the audio and kind of up close and personal?
It's a great question, Alec. The thing I learned the most was just his mindset on, you know, how he's setting up certain plays, how he's handling the situation. You know, he always talks about, like, I'll manage the game, you manage the play. And just being able to really understand, you know, his overall objective going into each drive and each game. And I'd say it was just, you know, truly a gift and a blessing to be able to be on the sidelines for all those opportunities to really just intricately dissect what he was doing out there. And yeah, it was good in a stress-free environment, that's for sure.
JJ, I know that this isn't surprising to you, like, you've obviously built relationships with all of your teammates, but we were talking with John Grenard earlier, and he was just saying, like, you know, we're all standing 10 toes, like, beside JJ, like, behind JJ. I guess just what does it mean to have, like, that much support throughout the locker room, you know, from older vets and whatnot?
It means the world, because that's like the number one thing you need to have to be on a successful team is everyone standing 10 toes for each other. And I could sit up here and say that every single guy in that room, every single person in this facility, I feel the same way. And, just especially coming from the defensive side, that means so much. And, I can't wait to go out there and show them and not just tell them.
JJ, how do you go about building chemistry with Justin Jefferson this offseason?
More reps, the better. On the field, off the field, as much time as I can to spend around him. But he's such a phenomenal talent and once-in-a-generation type talent that, it's more just you gotta not adapt your game to him, but you gotta understand like it's gonna take reps and reps and reps to feel his routes in and out of the break. But he's just so special, so I just can't wait to get to work with him every single day.
Have you guys been able to have any of those conversations yet before you've been able to get on the field?
A little bit here and there, but nothing as of right now in the building, so I'm excited to get him here.
You mentioned the gratitude journal. Like, where did you pick that up, and what was the single hardest part about the journey over the last 8 months?
I picked up the gratitude journal in college, actually, and I put it down for a couple years, and, I just brought it back up just because of, passing of mine, Greg Harden. He's just a tremendous human being, and, God rest his soul. But it was one of the things that I, felt like benefited me the most in my first injury in college. And, bringing that back up was something I was very grateful to do. And I'd say the most difficult thing was just like being a part of the team, but not like being out there with the guys and strapping them up and, going out to war every single week with them. That was the toughest part, but, hopefully we get to do that a lot more times in the future.
JJ, trusting the coach is really important, and you know this. IMG and Jim Harbaugh and now Kale. Can you explain, in watching this last year, how that can take the pressure off of you if you truly believe your coach is going to have the right play dialed up, so we just have to worry about executing, what that means in terms of confidence and calm?
Yeah, when you have someone as world-class as KO is when calling football plays, it gives you all the confidence in the world, because you just have to go out there and execute the simple, intricate things that you're required of in that play. And, he's going to do whatever he can to help the team and make sure that he puts out the best play call for that team. And, just knowing that he is who he is and seeing, the work of his body of work on display for this past year, it just gives me all the confidence in the world, because he's truly one of a kind when it comes to play calling.
How important is that meditation to you?
Extremely. Yeah, it's something that just keeps me neutral, somewhere where I could come from a response, not react type of state. And, it's something that I feel like just always is there for me whenever I need it, in times like this, in times on the field, in times, when things aren't going great at home. You could use it everywhere.
Do you do it daily?
Yes, sir.
Jay, do you think you need to win the job this spring or in training camp? Do you think you just need to remind them what you can do? Because obviously you had last summer as well in training camp. How will you sort of set your mind in that regard?
I got to win it with myself every single day. It's a competition with myself, and obviously it's just putting your best body of work, my best body of work out there, but it comes with, looking myself in the mirror every night and did I get better? And, if I keep this, non-comparative aspect to it and just really focus on being the best versions of myself, that's really where I'm aiming, and that's where I'm trying to go.
When you got a veteran team coming off 14-win season, how do you go about, winning the confidence? Players have talked about having confidence already, but how do you go about making this kind of your team or asserting yourself in a veteran team that's had success and wants to keep going?
Just be me. Do everything I can to make sure that I'm the best version of myself come game day, and, just put out that body of work that they're going to see on a day-to-day basis, and, show up, be consistent, be dependable, be reliable, be a true pro, and the rest will take care of itself.
A lot of veterans, when they're injured, they say they gain perspective by watching the game. I know it's hard for you because, coming in, you thought it was going to be your rookie year. Is there anything perspective-wise watching the game that you learned that you might not have if you were actually playing that has helped you, that you're grateful for?
I would say the biggest thing that I learned from not playing but watching is just the ebbs and flows of the game. You know, you don't really get caught up in it when you're sitting on the sideline, and, you know, the emotional aspect of the game and how, you know, we could really take off and be our best versions of ourselves if we handle those ebbs and flows to the best of our ability. So those kind of like observations from the shadows were, you know, really the most beneficial, especially on game day.
Couple more for JJ.
How much of the VR stuff did you do or have you wanted to do? I don't know if all, but if so, what does that entail?
So our VR stuff during the year was kind of like watching film, but you saw it through Sam's perspective. So, you know, it helped out a lot at practice when I was able to kind of replay it, hear the play call, say it, and then watch it from his point of view. And, you know, it was just more reps on reps, and mental reps are ultimately one of the greatest things to improve, especially when you're not able to do it physically. So, yeah, there's a lot of those.
Time for two more questions, Sam
guys.
Darnold, and just the way that he handled last year and just about being a winning quarterback in the NFL.
Just being a true pro, you know, showing up, being the same guy every single day. You know, it didn't matter if he had 4 touchdowns one week or, you know, had a not so great game the other week. He showed up and he was the same guy every day, and that's the biggest thing I took from him.
JJ, what's one thing that you did this past year that you wouldn't have had time for, you know, with all this unexpected downtime recovering?
There was a lot of, you know, just kind of defensive coordinator reports, establishing a big, you know, kind of plan of each player going into that week, and, you know, making sure that I knew all the ins and outs and all the busy work on the front end when I had the time for it. So next year I don't have to spend too much time on things that, you know, aren't going to show up in the biggest way, and just really making sure I could be efficient next year with my, you know, prepping and my game plan, studying and all that stuff.
JJ, Grant, you guys keep going to Jacksonville. When you got that news, how did you react to that?
You know, Grant's a phenomenal coach. You know, I wish him nothing but the best, and he's going to do good things there. He's going to do really good things. Thanks so much. Great to see you all.
Well, after he said on 4 different occasions, he said, "Great question," and then he stopped.
Yeah.
Do you think he thought the questions were very mundane and bad afterwards? And as a media person, when you ask a question and he doesn't say "great question," does it make you feel like, are you like embarrassed? Or are you like, wow, must not like my question very much? You know, I don't know.
I mean, I've done 5 questions for 13, 14 years. Not once have you responded, "Good question."
How does it affect you? How has it affected you in your performance?
Confidence is a little low.
Yeah.
Go home and cry when the show's over.
Do you still handle it like a pro? He mentioned that a few times, being a pro. I wonder if he ever thinks to himself, what a pro wants, what a pro needs. A number of, let's do this. That's right before we get too far behind. You know, you put a lot of work into 5-3-4, so, I mean, if you wanted.
Only if you compliment one of the questions. Then
I'll do
we'll
that. Let's do it on the side of the break. Why don't you give us a D instead of B for 5-3-4?
Yeah, the fan and BigDuck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now. Free shot at winning. That keyword is money. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
KFAN and Custom One Exteriors want to give you a chance to catch the St. Paul Saints in action. Check out our contest page. See how you could win a 4-pack of tickets to the Saints game against the Scranton Rail Riders on June 7th. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
I mean, it's like, hello?
We don't go there. Next question.
Should be a couple of 13-14 past. Quick question for you, Tennessee. First of all, we're going to do 5-3-4 now. I usually eat my lunch during 5-3-4. I had it all prepared. Mini cheesy meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes.
Lucky.
But I ate during the news conference. Worked out perfect for me, and maybe you and the listeners, because I think there are some people that aren't particularly fond of me eating while on the air. Some people actually detest it, think it's rude. I take a working lunch. Let me ask you a question. What would you rather have to deal with? Listening to me eat my lunch on the air, or watch Pat McAfee with a muscle T-shirt on showing you his hairy armpits every few minutes?
That's a great question.
Don't wear. I mean, I know you're just a bunch of dorks talking sports, and don't sue us. And we use 4-letter words because that's the way people talk. We get it. You're wacky and you're wild, and you got this zoo of characters. But it's like, just wear a full sleeve T-shirt. We don't want to see your hairy armpits on TV. It's at that. I think that's worse than listening to me eat my lunch. But maybe the listener, maybe you can do a program poll someday. But that is neither here or there. It's time now for 5-3-4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
Lost that computer screen.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score. It's now.
Are you Xing out of it?
No, I don't even touch it. I haven't touched it since I walked back in here. It just disappeared. So I don't think I accidentally bumped the mouse or anything. So sorry.
The Twins offense piled up 17 hits and scored 11 runs in a victory last night in Cleveland. Ryan Jeffers hit a homer and a double, driving in 3 runs. Jonah Bride had 3 hits. Ty France and Byron Buxton each had a pair of hits and 2 RBI. Even Carlos Correa had 2 hits. Bailey Ober went 7 2/3, giving up just 1 run on 8 hits. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Twins win?
That they're getting, well, first of all, that they're on a winning streak again, that a pitcher actually went 8 innings, and that they're getting contributions from not only some of their core players, who had, of the 3, Royce Lewis still not in. Apparently he'll be ready to play sometime in the very near future. But Correa in particular, but Buxton even, both started out, they were dreadful early. Which had a lot to do with the poor record they posted in the first 3-4 weeks of the season. Now they're both starting to swing the bats a little bit better. They're getting contributions from other players, and including some guys. Again, we mentioned it. You just mentioned some of them. I hadn't heard of some of these guys before, and so we just picked up the Clemens kid, which I didn't realize till I don't know how I missed this one because I don't prepare. I'm unprepared, uninformed, and unapologetic about it. The Clemens kid is Raj Clemens' nephew or son or something. I don't know who he is. But I don't know where these guys, all of a sudden, we're and that was always so, the Twins used to always never bring young guys up from the farm. And I don't know how many of these guys are farm system guys that, because they always wanted to control the, service time. So they wouldn't have to pay them, they
is the son.
Yeah, the son. So they would keep them, so they couldn't get, they keep them arbitration eligible, wouldn't have to, all that stuff, that having better control of the players and the finances with them. Sometimes it seems like they're ignoring some of that now and bringing guys up, including Keishel. And then last year it was the Brooks Lee, and bringing up guys when they're ready to play instead of saying, yeah, but it's going to financially, it won't be beneficial to us. So nice to see, once we get through with the 2 parades for the Wild and the Wolves, we'll be in the midst of training camp, and that's all great. But, it's also nice to have some real results going on if the Twins are in the mix. It's a nice way to spend a, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday, regardless of what day it is, having it, like you say, having it on in the background as you're sitting around home. So good for them. Nice win.
Question number 2.
Go Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the skull.
Field Yates of ESPN wrote a column at ESPN.com with his favorite picks in every round of the NFL draft. And one of his favorite picks in round 1, Donovan Jackson, guard, picked at number 24 for your Minnesota Vikings. He wrote, quote, I was bullish on Jackson during the pre-draft process, ranking him number 20 overall on my board. The appeal for me was his versatility after he started at both guard and left tackle this past season, as well as his toughness and physicality. The Vikings talked all offseason about being better in the trenches ahead of J.J. McCarthy's inaugural season at starting quarterback. They lived up to that promise in free agency and with his selection. But he wasn't the only Viking that Field put on his column. In the 5th round, he wrote defensive lineman Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Here's what he said, quote, Ingram Dawkins was part of a deeply talented Georgia defensive front, so he was infrequently asked to simply focus on the quarterback. That led to just 5 sacks in the past 3 seasons, but I like his combination of length, power, and versatility. He logged 219 snaps as an edge rusher in 2024 and 294 at defensive tackle. Few NFL coordinators use more creativity up front than Brian Flores, who probably believes in Ingram Dawkins' multiplicity as a player. Comment your thoughts on the rave reviews for the Vikings draft.
Great question, Barrero.
I was expecting you to be able to eat something during this time.
Did you like that, though?
Oh,
I
great
complimented
question.
you, and then I said Barrero.
And
so
a
did
rep.
you get that? Great question, Barrero. Well, it sounds like the guy's got the only thing bigger than his ego might be his prostate. Look at me. Look what I picked I rated 2 guys really highly, and the Vikings took them. That's going to happen to a lot of people. A lot of people are saying. Matter of fact, Tennessee, I think I knew Cam Ward was going to go number 1, and I just want you to congratulate me for that.
Congratulations.
I'm starting, again, I think it was more, I'm going to go back to this. This is still one of my, mostly because I just like the alliteration. It was more about personnel than it was Ed Donatel. But Flores certainly does know what he's doing. He's very good as a defensive coordinator. And I think when they draft somebody, was it the 5th or 6th round pick, that tackle? The defensive
5th round,
tackle.
yeah.
When you're drafting somebody down there, you want to, probably hit or miss. But with Flores, he probably did see something in him. Probably fits the scheme. Kid will probably be a good player for the Vikings. Will he be the next John Randall? Probably not, but I have trust in them. And then I do like taking offensive linemen, and everything I read about the kid, I'm not going to say I've had my eye on him for a long time or any of that nonsense, but what I read about I'm sure I saw the Ohio State kid play because I watched every game they played last year because baby brother Peter goes to Ohio State. I watched nearly every Ohio State game. Their offensive line was really good. He was a part of it. I like building up the line, win the trenches, offense, defense, special teams. So, yeah, I certainly like the Jackson. Is it Jackson? That's the 1st round pick. I like him.
Donovan Jackson.
I don't know enough about the other one, but I like that there's other people out there that appreciate what the hard work that the Vikings front office is putting in.
Question number 3. And now it's time to go. In the paint.
Another long question here, Common. The NBA is considering another change to the format for its All-Star game. And this time there could be an international twist. Commissioner Adam Silver and Byron Spurrell, the NBA's president of league operations, both acknowledged yesterday that the league is having discussions with the NBA Players Association and broadcast partner NBC over replacing the All-Star game's current format with an international competition next season. Silver told The Athletic, quote, our All-Star game will return to NBC next season in the middle of their coverage of the Winter Olympics. Given the strong interest we've seen in international basketball competitions, most recently in last summer's Olympics in Paris, we're discussing concepts with the Players Association that focus on NBA players representing their countries or regions instead of the more traditional formats that we've used in the past. Common, would this new idea get you to watch the NBA All-Star game?
I don't know if it would get me to watch it. I'd read the reviews on it and see what people liked. Let's not get carried away. It sounds like they're sort of, and I think he said it there, they're kind of patterning it after what the NHL did with their 4 nations gobbledygook thing. Because it did seem like the players got into it.
They did get into it.
Yeah, and so would NBA players do the same thing and say, my country, 'tis of thee? I don't know if they would. That I would let them try anything. I think
It seems like the NBA of all the sports, even when they get to the Olympics, you got American players that are bailing out of it and not even playing in the Olympics.
That's true. The Miami Heat, I think, thought it was the All-Star game last night. The old All-Star game. They played like that. So I don't mind them trying something. I'm just not a big. I don't even know why there's such attraction to it by the average fan to All-Star games. They literally, maybe, I'm sorry, I guess I should be in that movie Grumpy Old Men. I just don't care enough about regular season games and plus much less an all-star game where they're not trying. Would this make them try? Or maybe. But at the end of the day, I really don't care if Serbia beats Canada. I just don't. It doesn't matter to me. So, well, but if that's what they want to do, let them do it.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
This is why I don't put a lot of preparation, if any at all, into the show. I'm not a radio architect. I'm a gardener. The J.J. McCarthy news conference got dropped on us at about 1 o'clock. So whatever I would have had planned for 1:30, I would have to push to the side anyways, because I think we need to dive into what J.J. McCarthy said, Tenneby. He had a lot of interesting things to say. We're going to break it all down on the other side of the break here on the Fan.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Out of vibes for the day.
Out of vibes. Vibing at this and vibing at that. Couple 13-14 past here on the Common Man program. The legendary one, Mark Rosen, waiting in the wings. He'll join us just before 2 o'clock.
Boy.
We had our first chance, at least on the Grum, to hear extensively from Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy, live from Winter Park today, TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park. Brian O'Neill, J.J. McCarthy, and I think it was 2 or 3 others. I don't recall the names. Maybe you remember them.
Jonathan Grenard and Josh Metellus also spoke today. They
had a chance to address the media. We carried a portion of McNeil's and I think O'Neill. And I think all of J.J. McCarthy's news conference. Interesting, got a lot of reaction to what the kid had to say. Mostly positive. A couple of them said, he's our starter. He sounds like a starter. It's like, I don't know if you can really tell. I mean, he
sounded confident.
Yeah, he sounded confident. Yeah. I don't know if that's a perfect indicator of whether he's going to be not only a starting quarterback, but and not just a good starting quarterback, but a really good starting quarterback, which is what you want when you draft him 10th overall in the first round, traded up to get him. You're expecting him to be a franchise quarterback. You don't expect him to be Ryan Tannehill. You're probably not also expecting him to be Pat Mahomes, but you want him closer to Mahomes than you want Tannehill. I also think fans want it so bad. They're waiting to hear this. They want to grab on anything and say, like what he said, so now we think he's the guy. And that's fine. And he could very well be. I have high hopes for him myself. One thing I did learn, Tenneby, is have you ever heard of, I'm going to test what you learned in history class. Have you heard of McCarthyism before?
That's a good question. Yes, I have heard of it.
It was I would describe vociferous, not Bocephus, the nickname for Hank Williams Jr., but vociferous. Can you look up the word vociferous for me to make sure I'm using it properly? Vociferous, VOCIFEROUS, vociferous.
Vociferous.
Thank you.
Vociferous.
Vociferous.
Crying out noisily, clamorous, characterized by or uttered with noisy or vehement outcry.
Vehement outcry. McCarthyism, a noun, would be described as a vociferous campaign against alleged communists in the U.S. government and other institutions carried out under Senator Joseph McCarthy, not to be confused with Minnesota Senator Eugene McCarthy. That was in the period of 1950 to 1954. Many of the accused were blacklisted or lost their jobs, although most did not, in fact, belong to the Communist Party. I think we have a new definition of McCarthyisms here in Minnesota. He had several, including, what was my favorite? Neutral baseline. I don't even know what that means, but he said neutral baseline. Another one was he said, calm in the chaos, chaos in the calm.
Yeah.
And then maybe my favorite McCarthyism that he had was observations from the shadows. Because somebody asked him, was there something you learned from not playing by watching? He said, well, the observations from the shadows. So I think we need to do a segment, observations from the shadows, because we're in the shadows. We're not out there playing. But those are some McCarthyism. I wonder if they'll have more, because he came up with 3 things I'd never heard of before. Neutral baseline.
I like the chaos line.
Yeah, chaos in the calm, calm in the chaos. And then I just love observations from the shadows. McCarthyisms is what we're going to start calling him. So every time he speaks, maybe he'll add to that list, McCarthyisms. Does seem, it is, they were showing a bit of the, on ESPN, they were showing a bit of his news conference. And so, of course, they have video as well. And he does look young, doesn't he? I mean, he literally looks like he could still be in high school. He looks so young. That's not a rip on him. I'm just saying he's fresh-faced and he's young and he's vibrant, and he does seem to. They were showing the highlight package. And if you remember, I think I was playing golf. My choice was tell me what yours would have been. You were Vikings, Master Control. Were you Master Control supervisor or even preseason games too?
Yes.
So if your choice was run the board for a preseason game and watch McCarthy play football for the first time, or go play golf, which would you rather do?
I'd pick play golf over most things.
Yes, I think you would. So my choice was watch J.J. McCarthy play a preseason game or go play golf. I chose golf, so I did not see him play. And that was an extensive highlight package they showed here. He can spin it. I don't think there's any question. Yep. Now, again, it's our rookies and backups playing against the other team's rookie. Was it the Raiders we were playing in that game? Radiators?
Don't even remember.
It was Cowboys, Raiders, whoever it was. And against their backups and rookies, and that he's not to blame for that. He did what he needed to do, and he did look good. He
did throw a pick early on.
Did he? They didn't show that, of course.
But then he was brilliant after that.
Yeah. And a couple of them, the guys were wide open. You could have thrown that pass. But,
when you got the greatest offensive coordinator mind in the league.
But he threw some, what do the kids call them?
Some dimes?
Dimes.
Well, he was spinning. I mean, obviously, the way his spins, it spins in the air differently with his throws.
Well, you could hear it as it cuts through the breeze.
No, I mean, the physical traits with him are NFL caliber, right? Like, he's got a strong enough arm. He's mobile, can move around a little bit. He can throw on the move.
215 at tops. I wish he was a little heavier, but that's okay. You can do it.
As with all NFL quarterbacks, because most of these NFL quarterbacks have the physical traits to play the position, right? It's all about how smart you are and how you can process the position and process what's going on in front of you.
So if you're PA, the Paul Allen Project, and let's say, who drafted the Jackson Dart character?
The Giants.
If you're the Giants play-by-play guy, I mean, is your mind already starting to go, how do I describe his darts that he throws?
Easy. Bullseye.
Yeah, there you go. Another bullseye.
Dart. Yeah. Neighbors. Bullseye.
Yeah. You would say something like, the way he's throwing those darts, it's like he's in a British pub, right? Because they have professional dart throwing over there across the pond. There's a lot of different ways to go to.
And then when he spikes it towards the end of the game, it's a lawn dart?
Oh, lawn dart. I like that. Then there's also, or if he just throws it horribly and it bounces into the grass, that's a lawn dart as well. And then, I don't know, I don't think Dodge makes the Dodge Dart anymore, but, he would endorse Dodge Dart. Got a lot of things going for him. I don't know what McCarthy will end up endorsing, if he probably already has an endorsement that I just haven't seen. But, so I guess I'm still not 100% convinced that Rodgers will not be playing here, but it does look like he's. I mean, you go out and get the Sam Howell character, and everybody seems to be suggesting he's going to be the guy. So,
I guess it's possible you could still get Rodgers and then go, all right, well, Howell, we'll trade you now for a sixth round pick to somebody.
Exactly, but we'll see how he goes. I'm looking forward to it as well. I gotta think. Well, he better be for Kwesi and Kevin's sake. He's gonna have a better career than Ponder. I remember there was excitement about Ponder. I don't think as much as McCarthy, because as a matter of fact, when you during Purple Prey, during that pause, when that brilliant rendition, Purple Prey by Nordo, where you're at with the 11th pick in the NFL draft, the Minnesota Vikings take Florida or whatever college you went to, Christian Ponder. And you can hear Florida State. And you can almost hear people going, ugh. There wasn't like, ah. So, but I think for McCarthy, there was a lot of excitement. Because,
there was.
I mean, the kid, again, I bring this up. Do I have that record right? In like high school, college, and he was like 163-1 or something like that. So you got a kid that all he does is win.
You want to know why?
Why is that?
Another McCarthyism. Pressure is a privilege.
Pressure is a privilege.
He handles the pressure.
Did he say that?
He did say that. Pressure, because he was asked about, it's going to be a lot of pressure now that you are going to be the starting quarterback. He was like, I embrace pressure. I love pressure. Pressure is a privilege.
Is that what he said? Hold on.
Yeah.
Play the music. I got to write these down. So see, the problem is I'll forget these.
Yep.
Pressure is a privilege. Is privilege with a D? No. That's pledge. It would be just a G,
E-G-E.
right? Privilege. Observations from the shadows.
Calm in the chaos.
From the shadows.
Calm in the chaos, chaos in the calm.
Calm in which is that the order he did?
I thought he did calm in the chaos first.
Calm in the chaos. Chaos in the calm. And then there was one other one that I really liked. That was neutral baseline. Not as good, but still I've never heard of neutral. What does neutral baseline even mean? Neutral.
Is that what they call a basketball court in Switzerland?
Can you give her? Hey, my computer screen popped back up. I guess I got to do it. It's not even really worth it, but I'll go ahead and give you a...
There's a reason we're doing McCarthyisms and not Tennebyisms.
Always. Neutral baseline. So we have 4 right now. I wouldn't put Great Question in there. He's not the first person to do that, but I loved Great Question. Didn't WCCO...
He knows how to get the reporters to eat it up, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's pretty impressive for his age.
But and like I was saying, do you think the ones he didn't say Great Question to, the reporter's not even now listening to the answer? He's just going, he didn't pat me on the head.
Well, he's making him work for it.
Yeah. But I mean,
you can't do it every time.
But is the reporter thinking to himself, did he not like my question? Now that reporter feels less of himself and thinks, boy, I got to really start working on my questions because you want to be complicated. You want to be complimented.
You know, when a reporter asked Brian O'Neill how good his golf game is right now, he did not respond with good questions.
No, he did not. He said it's a work in progress. Do you think he's better than Tony Romo? My guess is no.
Probably hit it farther.
It probably does. Common, this is a perfect example of what sets you apart from the other shows. For how much work in show prep you put into each and every segment, you chose to give up 5-3-4 to listen to the new Vikings quarterback interview. This just goes to show the level of selflessness and humility you exude that none of the other shows possess. Wonderful example you set me, boy. Of course, I probably shattered that when I said, can we do 5-3-4 at 1:15? Well, I thought that was...
Doubled up.
I thought that was a great question when I asked you, could you do it? Then how about this? Here's some negativity. You know me, I love the negativity. Common, this was the most KOC quasi-scripted press conference I've ever heard. Almost as if the media and the Purple colluded to offer up softball questions to JJ in order to get him to sound perfect. purple rubes are going to eat this up thinking they have the next Brady on their hands. Nothing new learned from this. Waiting for JJ to prove himself on the field, and then he ended it with this. I love the negativity. That's something I would say to try to get the rubes going. But I didn't even do that. I kind of bought into what he had to say. I'm giving him early on the benefit of the doubt. It's the new me. I liked his responses. At the very end, I think he was getting kind of bored with it, though. You know how kids can they want to move on to the next thing. He was giving some shorter answers because I think that was his way of saying, that's a bad question, right? He just gave real quick answers and moved on with his life. But yeah, it was fine. It was all good. And I like the roster they put together to this point. You got to like what the Kitties are doing, what the Bears are doing, and the Packers. It should be a great NFC North this year, Tennessee, and I am certainly looking forward to it. Also looking forward to Wild tonight, Wolves tomorrow. Twins play today as well. All they do is win now. They've won 6 of their last 7, and I think 4 in a row. And Bailey Ober really, really, really good yesterday. We'll see what Mark Rosen thinks about all of these topics when we return to the Common Man program here on The Fan.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.